Hello. Better?
Take two.
We did it.
Yeah, hopefully it holds out this time and doesn't just explode again. I don't know why it does that. It's very inconvenient for someone who tries to do a recording over the internet.
Yeah, it's not really helpful. Does
For
it
me,
happen
it's
a
not
lot
very
for you?
helpful. It doesn't happen particularly often. Um, it's just the terrible coincidence of it happening during a recording. Like it
Yeah.
happened last time when I was recording with Devin on Wednesday.
Mm.
Uh, not great, but
Oh,
uh, maybe eventually this goes to a in-person recording format. But for now,
yeah.
uh,
We can't do that anyway right
yeah,
now.
exactly. Are you good? Are
Yeah,
you good to go? Cool. Then
I'm
I
good
say the
to go.
words theme song, and then a theme song gets dropped in by me in the post editing.
Theme song. Theme song.
Theme song ends, and I say hello and welcome to Hello We Don't Talk Let's Talk, the show where I, Christopher Hua, reconnect with old friends, and today we have the lovely Kelly Burke. Kelly,
Hello.
to the show.
Thank you for the welcome and for having me. I'm actually very excited.
Excellent. How are you doing today?
I am great. I woke up late. I made myself a Thanksgiving leftover burrito for lunch.
That is a week ago. That is
Yeah, it was like the dredges of the
fair
leftovers.
enough.
Uh-huh. So I finished a lot of things off. Now we've got like leftover carrots, and that's pretty much it. And then I sat out on my deck for a while and just like photosynthesized.
Nice.
And now I'm here.
Excellent.
This is
Well,
all I have planned for today.
oh, nice. Because there's no D&D, as you mentioned, through text.
None today. None today.
Well, happy to have you. Uh, so yeah, the last time I think we saw each other was at the summit where they went to space.
They did.
Only night one. I didn't go for night two for reasons that I can't quite remember right now.
But for
Um,
reasons.
yeah, but there's always got to be a reason. Like, why would I not
That's
go see
true.
my friends? Um,
I mean, I live further than you, and I was there for both days, Chris. So I need you to like up
yeah,
your game a little bit here.
listen, the reasoning is going to be flimsy if I could remember it in the first place. Um, but I will not be shamed on my own show, dang it. Um,
I take it back. Don't kick me off. I want to be here.
but yeah, we didn't catch up particularly much. So I don't know what's happened in your life. Uh,
Yeah,
tell me about what's happened to you.
I find at all those events, you kind of see people and you chat, but you don't actually talk to people and catch up. So
Uh,
I am
People are busy. They just they're there for the show.
exactly
It's hard to shift gears in the mind to make that work.
for sure. But yes, I mean, how far back do you want me to go?
Uh, let's go 2016 because that's when I graduated.
Okay, I
Am I right
graduated
to
then
say
as
that?
well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think yeah.
time's weird.
Um, Graduated from psychology and business. Looked for work, nothing. Could not get a job, and like I did co-op, I did well in courses, I had extracurriculars, but apparently they were all the wrong co-ops and all the
Oh
wrong
dear.
extracurriculars. So I worked retail management for a little while, 8 months or so, and then went back to college. I moved down to Niagara for 8 months to do an event management postgrad,
Ah yes.
which was great. Living in wine country was delightful. And I got to join a little improv troupe down there for a little bit, KO Improv, with some of the guys that I know you've had on here.
Hmm.
Um, at least Paul. I don't know if you've had any of the rest of them
It
actually.
would have been just Paul, yeah.
But Paul. And
Hi,
then,
Paul. I know you're listening.
hi, Paul. I miss you, buddy. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've talked to him actually. But from there, out of school, got a job at a company called Integrated Automotive Experience in project management, which I know is the vaguest thing. People always ask me what I do, and the easiest way of putting it, and kind of the most degrading to what I do,
Oh dear.
is I move cars places and make people make them look pretty, which
on,
is not wrong.
on words alone, my guess was like some kind of car show event planner.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, you're
not
pretty much
terribly
on
far
it.
off.
So we do anything from managing a whole bunch of the OEM's vehicles for auto shows. So this past year, I worked on Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia, and then the company does Ford, Lincoln, and Subaru, and we used to do Volvo and a whole bunch of other ones. So auto shows is a big part of the business, and then we do like if you see a vehicle display in a mall, we probably put it there. If there's like shuttle services for music awards in Toronto or for TIFF, like we probably arranged that depending on who the OEM is.
Gotcha.
We pretty much do whatever the manufacturers pay us to do in terms of, the logistics and detailing and vehicle management. I just wrapped up a big media program for releasing the 2021 Crosstrek for Subaru. So that was a cross country. What's that face?
The word Subaru Crosstrek just triggered a song in my mind. I don't know if you've ever heard Hobo Johnson and or the Lovemakers, but he has a song about the Subaru Crosstrek XV. It's a fun song. I'll send it to you after this.
Please do. I'm super curious now. I know way too much about that car after planning this and doing broadcasts multiple times for it. But yeah, just wrapped that up and things are kind of quiet again and we're waiting for the next big thing. So now I'm updating project templates and making resource directories, which I say that in a joking voice, but I live for it.
Oh, for sure.
I love the making the information clean and succinct and everything in its place. And now people just need to not break it.
I hope that you've developed a trustworthy set of people to not break things.
Yeah, we've got a really good team, actually. It's only 5 of us on the project team right now. We're a really small company. But everyone is super capable and carries their weight. Like, you could not look at anyone in the team and go maybe they're dead weight.
Do you happen to know if there's a lot of businesses in that sort of service slice of the industry, or is it really just your business?
There's a few. So I know there's it's mostly by city that people manage. Like I know there's a main guy out in Vancouver who kind of has that nailed down. There's a guy out in Montreal who used to have a lot of stuff and now we're kind of taking it away from him because he's mean. Or so we're told.
Yes.
But yeah,
just vilifying people to make yourselves feel better.
Exactly. That's fine, right?
Yeah. It's business.
Exactly. If he was doing his job well, OEMs wouldn't want to jump over to us.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm going to say about that. But as far as I know, we are the only ones that specifically do cross-country planning and detailing. People often only do kind of one or the other.
Sure. And whereabouts are you situated these days?
Mississauga.
Hey.
The good old soggy sog.
As they all call it.
Every single person. Yeah.
Living with parents, living alone. How's that situation?
Yep, living with my parents. Graduating out of college, I didn't want to pay rent because living
sensible.
in the PA is obviously super expensive. And I wanted a space, number one, that had space and had outdoor area. And I know you talked to Nape recently, didn't have cockroaches.
Yeah.
Stayed there once. It was horrifying.
Good God.
But my parents and I get along really, really well.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, there's some people that I tell that to and they're like, oh, I could never move home. You're crazy. How did you do that? And my response is, my parents are really cool.
They're nice people. We get along well.
Exactly.
They're super great roommates.
Honestly, I eat really well, so that's nice. But yeah, I was laid off during the start of COVID. It's because all of our income got cut all at once, right? Because you can't do auto shows if people aren't allowed to gather. But it was honestly really nice. I got to spend so much time with them, just sitting out on the balcony at the end of every day and having a tea or a coffee or something and just chatting and sitting around. That's something I wouldn't have gotten if I wasn't living at home.
Fair enough. The weather throughout the year has been at least like kind of nice during COVID. Like maybe the summer was like super hot, but like it's October and outside right
It's
now,
beautiful today.
like my God. Uh,
Yeah, I'm
sorry,
good.
go. No,
No,
you
no.
go.
No, I was just going to say it's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens as the holidays hit and as
Hmm.
things get colder. Um, because the good weather and having to isolate, I think, has been a really big boon for a lot of people.
Hmm.
But
But as things get a bit more dreary,
mm-hmm,
just living, just indoor living.
mm-hmm. How have you found it so far? Like, I know you're working from home, yeah?
Yep. I'll go out for a walk about once a week. Probably should do a little bit more than that, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm the exact same boat.
yeah,
I'll get to like day 5 of not going for a walk and realize, oh, I should leave this
I
house.
should I should breathe outside and not inside. Um, the yeah, I've basically just like been a real homebody for most of it. Just like my friend group exists primarily online because like we're all kind of scattered across southwestern Ontario.
Hmm.
Um, so no like real life hangs, and yeah, just not a whole lot to speak on. I feel kind of guilty every time I like think about how my life has been. It's just like,
Hmm.
hmm, what do I contribute to the conversation? I did go on some dates, which was nice.
Hmm. Nice.
Hadn't done
How do
that
you
before.
how do you find dating during or in this current landscape? Like how have you been navigating that?
So as someone who prefers talking over messages and being able to really just look at things that I write and be like, no, I gotta change that. I can't
Yeah.
send this message. Uh, Being able to do that and have it be normal a lot of the time is very good. Of
Hmm.
what the times that we've gone out is just like, well, we'll get a meal and we'll walk around like the neighborhood of the restaurant that we ate at. Um, there is once again a small degree of guilt where it's like, well, I don't think that things should be open for the most part, but if they're open, I mean, we gotta give them money, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
overall, having not experienced, I guess pre-COVID dating, it's all I know, and it's been good.
Hmm. Yeah, it's what you said there about restaurants and like if they're open, you've got to support and other attractions. It's such a weird in between now
Hmm.
because I mean, everyone has either been a server or has a bunch of friends who have been servers, and like they need people in there so bad to keep them alive. But like for me, I'm not going to a restaurant until 2024.
Yeah,
Like,
like it seems like a like an incredibly bold choice
yeah,
to sit in a restaurant at the very least.
yeah, it does. But at the same time, it's so important to
Hmm.
so many people's livelihoods. So it's that balance of your own comfort zones versus, I guess, what you
This,
could call social responsibility.
yeah, like a place like Ape Herb like just shut down last week or
Oh, no
something.
way.
Yeah, I was just like,
Oh,
well,
that's sad.
this was a very popular place, and it's incredible that it's gone now.
Yeah. Like, did they completely shut down or just
I think
closed for now?
they completely shut down.
Brutal.
I don't quite remember the details, but it also is related to some shady business practices that I had no idea about. So
Okay, that's fair.
yeah, not strictly quarantine related, but you know there have been other establishments that have
Yeah.
suffered a similar fate, but and more strongly correlated to having to get through that phase one without real business coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like even for us, we always say like, oh, we're gonna do takeout once a week, and then we just kind of forget,
Hmm.
I guess. And it just doesn't happen. So we did our first takeout in months, last week, and we went all out. Like, we got a pizza and we went another place, and we all got these like giant sandwiches, and we were like, we've got to put it all in at once because we've been slacking.
The smorgasbord, if you will.
Yeah, just really deeply buying into this one shot, one opportunity.
To seize everything you ever wanted to eat, like mom's spaghetti. Anyways, so you mentioned your Thanksgiving leftover burrito. Thanksgiving, I think, is like probably one of two big sort of family gathering type events during quarantine. The other one being like Canada Day, maybe. But how was that for you? Like, what happened?
It was good. It was really small. Like my dad's side all lives in Nova Scotia, so not seeing them forever. Nope. My mom's side all lives around the GTA. So the other, like, I've got 3 uncles. One is married, no kids. The other is married or divorced, but his kids have both moved away. Like, one's in Bermuda and one's up in Petawawa, so they're not coming home. So he's on his own, and we kind of treat him like his own entity.
Sure.
And then my third uncle and his wife, a lot of them are home right now with the kids. They've got 3 out of 4 kids home now. So they've kind of created their own bubble. So for Thanksgiving, we just had my mom, my dad, myself, my uncle who's divorced, and the kids are gone, and my Oma.
Gotcha.
My sister and fiance, but I call him my brother-in-law at this point, were considering coming, but he's a cop and she works doing quality for food plants. So the amount of people that they see in a week, like, we just couldn't justify having them that close to my Oma for that long.
Gotcha.
It's like, she's 91. She's not allowed to go outside when it's windy because she'll blow away.
Big ups to making it to 91.
She's a trooper. Like, she's still living on her own in her house. My mom help her a lot. Because, like, she doesn't have a license to go get groceries and that kind of thing. But she still lives on her own. And when we told her we were doing Thanksgiving, she was like, okay, I'll make a cake, and I'll bring cookies, and I'll do a potato salad. What else do you want me to bring? And we were like, no, stop.
Classic Oma strength.
Honestly.
No one knows where it comes from, but once you mention family, it just kicks in.
Honestly. Did you end up doing anything for Thanksgiving?
No, unfortunately. I think my mom communicated with my aunt, who usually hosts some type of gathering. I was just like, well, it doesn't make sense this year. And we're all like, yeah, that makes understandable. Which is unfortunate because, like, I'm actually like within walking distance of my aunt's house now. I should stop by and say hi. Maybe.
Yeah. Do that on one of your walks. Make that a goal for before it gets cold. So you go for a walk, you do your little jaunt. Oh yeah.
Stop by, say hi, walk back. Make a day out of it.
Yeah. How far away would she be from you?
I haven't actually looked. So when I say within walking distance, that's like fully a guess, but I got some legs on me. I got some stamina. I can make the trek.
Yeah. Just choose a day where you've got nothing.
Yeah. Just gotta set goals. Always been a hard part for me. But what about you? How did you have goals that you set as part of like any New Year's resolutions, or is it just like that you've managed to chip away at over the course of the year so far?
I'm really bad at New Year's resolutions. I'm really good at them until, April or so.
That's better than most, actually.
I make really small ones.
Gotcha.
Like a couple years ago, I'm going to read every night before I go to bed. And I did that for a few months, and then I was like, yeah, no, bye.
Yeah.
Good night. I'm out. I didn't set any this year because our busy season for work is January to April for auto shows.
I see.
There's 7 shows across the country in 4 months. So it's busy. So I essentially don't have the time to be a person in those 4 months. So there's really no point in setting New Year's resolutions. But like when COVID started, I told myself, I'm going to study for my PMP and I'm going to get a professional designation for project management and advance my career. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I got back to work and I completely stopped studying. So I need to be better about that.
What's the training process for that like, or like studying process?
I signed up for a course through Gray Campus or Gray Academy or something, and they essentially just run you through. There's a whole bunch of jargon because it's project management, and that's all it is. But essentially, this guidebook of project management principles. So the instructor runs you through each module and says, this is a very important piece of content that you should know about. I don't know why I just became Sean Connery, but I just kind of fell into it.
This is your instructor voice.
Yes, this is how all instructors sound. But yeah, I had a coworker that did the same course and she passed the exam. So I told myself, maybe let's try. So I've got to get back to cutting out the time for that again. Because I want to start kind of accomplishing more things. I'm very much a person who's happy with the status quo. And like, that's why I've lived at home for 2 years because I'm happy here. And like, I don't need to move. My boyfriend's in the States, so it's not like I can move in with him anyway. Rest in peace.
How's he doing?
He's doing okay.
All things considered?
All things considered, doing okay. Like he's got a couple friends down there from work that he's able to see. Living on his own does mean that he has that little bit of flexibility on if he does want to, go sit at a patio with his buddies. He's the only one who he's taking a possible risk with. And he's a healthy person, so all things considered good. And like he lives in Ann Arbor, so it's almost a Waterloo kind of town.
Yeah.
Like it's a university town, highly educated, fairly young group of people. But yeah, he's gotten to the point now where when he took this job, it was with the knowledge that, I can come back whenever I want to and like see my family and friends. And now he hasn't been up here since February. So he's reevaluating a little bit, I think, as I think a lot of us are.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, what's important? What is the most recent thing that you have reevaluated on? The interviewer becomes the interviewer.
Oh yeah, it's always like my favorite part about the show where like the guest flips the tables and I have to answer a question. Long pause. I'm very envious of anybody who has like the ability to confidently reply with any amount of answer. But anyways, I was gonna say just like taking a break from work. I've had days in the last couple of weeks where it's just like, okay, I'm burnt out at 2 p.m. I'm gonna go lie down on my bed. Like I need this, and I can't just like. It's not even productive for me to just like stay at my machine. Now, granted, I don't actually tell my team leader that I'm taking an extended break. I'm just kind of doing it, and the work gets done, so nobody questions me. I've taken advantage of that system, but
I mean, as long as the job gets done, it really shouldn't matter.
Yeah, firm believer of that. So yeah, I put more stake on that, especially in recent times.
Yeah, I think a lot of workplaces now are reevaluating, what does full-time work look like? Like we're not going back into the office permanently ever. We're actually in the process right now of moving into a new office, and they've told us like, clean out your desks, take it home, get rid of whatever you don't need, because there'll be kind of an open shared workspace, but people won't have specific desks.
Yeah, it's like a hoteling type situation.
Exactly. So yeah, we will never be working in the office full-time again when, before in January, for example, no one could ever imagine not working in the office regularly. So it's interesting how you see that shift, and like if people get burned out at 2 o'clock, you can take that break now instead of faking it in the office like everyone has done before. If everyone says they haven't, they're lying, because
Or they've got some weird untapped energy resource that we need to investigate further.
we need to get the scientists on it. We can replace gasoline and fuel and just everything with whatever they are running on.
Turns out it was cocaine the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, my office actually, the lease at their old location went up in like July, so they had to actually move out to a different office in June, and that was like something that's been planned for years. And the employees were very much like wondering like what the status of that was. So we moved into like this sort of midway place because the space that we actually purchased land up on wasn't finished, like the building wasn't done yet. So they moved into basically a few plots down on the same road in June. And as I went to the office a couple times before I went fully remote, I would like look at the giant building that was supposed to be our new office. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm never going to go to that.
Nope.
This is like, it's insane that everything I can do at home, I can do the same stuff. So like, why do that? And it's also like at the far end of Cambridge, and like a 90-minute commute by public transit for me. So like,
I did a very similar commute for one of my co-ops. It was awful.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense these days.
No,
like you, especially working in insurance, where the demand or like the workload through this crisis was incredibly large.
Oh, I believe it. Is it still like super high now, or has it slowed down a bit?
I think there was like 5,000 claims to manage, but there's like 50 examiners, I think, maybe more.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. Especially since like as new cases coming in is much lower because people aren't booking trips that they need to cancel.
Fair enough.
Basically everything that was booked pre-March that needs to get called in.
Yeah, one of my buddies had a destination wedding for his brother that he was supposed to go to. Poor thing. And they were humming and hawing for months about like, we booked these and it's non-refundable through the company. So they would have to go through exactly what you do, the whole insurance thing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone did it. I don't actually know. I never followed up on that. But I'm going to guess that perhaps you saw one of their claims or two across your desk.
I've seen several destination weddings, and I know that my cousin was actually supposed to have a destination wedding of his own in January. But that's still, January is still in that time frame where it's like, it might happen, which is always fun.
Yeah, I do not envy people that are trying to plan a wedding right now. Because even if you're booking for late 2020, like, we're all hoping that everything will be fine and fixed and, you know, we have a vaccine or we've figured it out or whatever it may be, but
it's just such a coin flip at this point.
Honestly.
And it's heavily weighted towards tails for at least until the end of 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know why I assumed tails was the bad outcome.
I was on the same page. I don't know why, but heads is definitely the good one, and tails is that's odd.
Apparently, we just like people. We want to see the face. That is the head side of a coin.
We're people.
Yeah. But so when did you end up getting back into work after that first little stint away?
Mid-August, I think. I have a little tracker that I was using when I was being super unproductive while I was laid off. I was tracking what I was doing every day, and it was shameful. I will not tell a lie. I got back in the start of August.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was off April, May, June, July. I was off for 4 months.
What was the workload like coming back then? Because things are still up in the air? How, like, I can't imagine the quantity or demand for events is like particularly high.
No, but it was the fact that we got the contract for that
Mhm,
cross-track program. So as soon as I came back, it was automatically going into everything for that.
mhm.
So for those first few weeks, I was working like 10-hour days, 5 days a week at
Wow.
least. Yeah, it was tiring. I felt funny. We have these weekly check-in meetings with management and with the rest of the project team, and I'd be a month into going to work, and I'd be like, guys, I'm tired. I know I was off for 4 months, and you guys have been working the whole way through, but I need a vacation. But yeah, it's all project based for us. So like we got the money and
Mhm.
done.
So dialing back away from the wonderful carnival ride that is 2020,
Aroni.
you had mentioned that you wound up going to college in Niagara
Yeah.
area. So as someone who has been through both a university and college experience, anything you would like to share about that? I don't have any particularly pointed question right now. I'll
Um,
think of one eventually.
I mean, I this is kind of the general go-to answer that I have when people ask me about my degree and getting a university degree and not being able to find work.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not even just that I stayed within that psychology realm. I tried broadening my search as the months went by, and I still had no luck.
Oh wow.
It was brutal, and maybe I didn't widen my net enough. Um,
I was about to
like
ask, what type of roles were you looking at?
I started all in mental health, and that's where I wanted to be. And I would still love to get back there someday, although honestly, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Mhm.
Just because of the way that my career track is going. Like, I know you can switch industries, but that's a big jump.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't regret my university time. I got so much value in finding myself, to use the old cliche, and like the people that I've met and the relationships that I've made. And I'm really bad at maintaining relationships and keeping in touch
Hey,
with
me too. That's
people.
why the show exists.
And it's such a good idea. Um, but the few that I have kept have become really highly valued.
Mhm.
Um, but I had no idea what I should have gone to school for when I was 16. I think it is the age coming out of high school, 17 maybe.
17, 18, I think.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Going off to uni for your sweet 16.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Mhm.
I still have no idea. So I chose a program that was interesting, but unfortunately wasn't able to get me anywhere because it was so broad and there's so much covered, right?
Mhm.
Whereas with college, not only did I have a little bit more of that direction, knowing that, I like logistics and planning and execution. I am not a dreamer or an ideas guy, despite my history with improv. I am the guy that goes, well, that might not work, and here's why.
Mhm. It's
But going
it's the idea of like having an ultimate result that you want to see and then like figuring out how to get there.
exactly. But yeah, going into college, like I had that direction about myself that I couldn't have gotten without going to uni and being involved with improv and with orientation and that kind of thing. So while university was important, college definitely got me to the job that I'm in now.
Mhm.
I actually got it. One of my classmates had previously worked with one of my now bosses. So she referred me into the job. So just having those, the network connections that you get in college because everything is so hands-on.
Yeah.
I don't use as many of the direct tools that they gave us in college just because they don't match perfectly for my industry. The colleges really kind of focus, or at least Niagara did, on a lot of people were interested in wedding planning, or festivals was really popular in our year, which oop, glad I didn't go that way. But yeah, well, I don't use as much of the tools. That definitely is the stepping stone that at least my resume needed to get me this job.
Gotcha.
So that was, because that's what the difference between when I got out of university and couldn't get a job, and then went to college and had a job offer before I graduated. So I think the base that I got from university was incredibly important to me as a person. I don't think it did anything for my career discreetly, if that makes sense. Other than, developing me as a person and blah, 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 blah.
All that good stuff that doesn't show up on a resume most of the time.
Exactly.
Very cool. I don't know. I felt like I needed to say something.
Acknowledged. I acknowledge your statement.
Yep. This is how I podcast.
Now, for you then, I know that you're doing insurance and claims and that kind of thing now. That's not what you were doing before, though, were you? What were you doing in your job before this?
I was just working in the mailroom.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't have any sort of. So I'm like a dumb baby. When I got out of university, I was just like, we'll find a nice office job and then we'll ascend the ranks there. So it was like, okay, what's the most fundamental, basic entry level position? Oh, mailroom. So I applied, I got in, and then just kind of chilled on that for like 3 years. And like, I don't know if it was because of how the company works or if it's more of like a everywhere sort of problem, but like the internal hiring process was such that like starting in the mailroom didn't really give me the most experience on like what the company, like how the company actually functioned. Or maybe I was just like blind to everything and kind of within my own processes. So it wasn't until like, actually, sorry, there was like one instance in which I thought, or I had looked at like the internal job board and actually applied to something. But at around that time, like my team was like bleeding out people. It was like, well, I feel guilty if I leave.
Yeah.
And like the whole system's going to come crashing down because I left.
It's all on you. It's all you.
But yeah, and then after that, it wasn't until COVID hit where, the claims handling team needed a lot of bodies. And my bosses knew that I wanted to kind of get out of just being a mailroom person for a little bit. So like, do you want to take this opportunity to like learn how to do claims exam or adjudication? Just like, yeah, if that's what the company needs, I'll do it, which has pretty much been my mindset the whole time. And then I just did it like well enough that they apparently, before they actually like gave me a contract, it was a long deliberation process because multiple teams wanted me, and then I look at like, oh, I bet this offer will come with like a fat pay raise, and it was like, here's an extra $1,000 a year. I'm just like,
yay.
But I get to work from home. That's what I care about most right now.
That honestly does make such a big difference, though. Like, you think the time you're spending and transit fare you said, right? Transit, like, so much value.
Oh yeah, so much. It's hard to put a price tag on it. I get to like sleep an extra hour a day, and like I no longer need an alarm to give me a rude awakening every single day.
I mean, I won't tell a lie. I have woken up at like 8:50 for 9 a.m. client meeting because I can.
Yeah.
Get all my stuff ready the night before and like roll out of bed, tuck and roll into my clothes for the day and land in this chair. And like, let's go.
But yeah, that's what I was doing before my current position.
But that's nice that the company was so open to other moves and like bringing you into a new spot.
I think that was something that throughout the years has been like vocalized in a lot of sort of employee like feedback initiatives, where it's like we don't know what the internal movement within the company looks like. So I guess they finally actioned something, which is good to hear. It's a nice experience.
That is nice.
There's some other things that have been brought up that have yet to be actioned, but you know what? One thing at a time.
Yeah, you can never change everything all at once. And every company has their there are quirks and there are things that can be improved. Like if anyone ever says there's nothing I would change about the company that I work for, like you've either deeply drunk the Kool-Aid or I mean maybe you're the one that needs to make the adjustment and you don't see it, or like I don't believe that there's a perfect workplace.
Agreed. Like for a while, whenever I had like a monthly one, I was like, is there any feedback you'd like to give some? I like wasn't engaged enough in work to like pay attention to things that were wrong. I was just like, well, I'm gonna get my check every couple weeks and I'm just gonna do this, and as long as everything's above board, I could not care less.
But with a job like being in the mailroom too, with it being so manual, like I can imagine it would be easy to go on autopilot and not really think about it, right?
Most of my especially earlier days working in the mailroom, I did like a lot of digitization of documents, which is basically like feed paper through machine and then send the batch out, and then you case and group the batch based on what's written on the document. And like that was such a brain shut off moment that I was just like had my headphones in all day, and I wouldn't even pay attention to like what I was doing for the most part. Probably created some error, like a non-zero amount of errors, but like it was never enough to make attention be paid. Yeah. But yeah, it was very autopilot-y.
Yeah. Which can be nice some days.
Oh yeah.
But I can see how you would want to get out and do something different.
It gave me plenty of time to just listen to podcasts and like focus on the podcast itself and just have just give my hands a thing to do.
Yeah, I find myself listening to and rewatching a lot lately instead of starting any new content because it's just filler background noise instead of having to pay attention to new content. Like when I'm getting food ready or something, or if I'm working on a map for a campaign that I'm running, like I will just put on a Critical Role one shot in the background that I've already seen a couple times, but it's just having that background noise and something to run on instead of sitting in silence. Like I can't work when it's quiet.
Oh, me neither.
It drives me crazy. I can't do it.
I started having like Twitch streams on in the background while I work, just like even old VODs, and politics, which is probably like
it's a strong choice.
Yeah, it's probably not the greatest.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to be more informed, though, right?
True, very true. But that being said, I have like a singular dude's point of view, so like,
is he right?
Who knows? Who knows? I want to believe so.
Yeah.
But I know some people who will vehemently disagree.
The beauty of politics, am I right?
It's so much fun, especially in the last 4 years. Sorry, fun is not the most appropriate word.
Interesting.
It's definitely been a spectacle.
That it has. But that seems to be happening more and more. I don't know why, but
my theory is that the simulation broke on 9/11 and things have just been never the same.
I like it. I support it. That is my new theory on everything. Like, why is this year the way it is? 9/11 broke the sim.
Yep. 19 years ago. It's been 19 years in the making.
It's just straight up a bug in the code. I should have seen it coming. We all should have been ready.
People didn't run the checks, and now we're just working around it. I had a question, but I can't remember it, so I'll ask a question that a previous guest proposed to both you and Nape.
Oh boy.
Improv was a noticeable part of your university experience. And as you mentioned, you had continued to do some while you were in college. Now that you are out and about in the real world, has that been a component in your life? Have you been able
Um,
to seek opportunities in the improv world? I know COVID has a weird presents a weird obstacle, but even in the intervening years of like the last one or two.
no, unfortunately not. I'd like to maybe get back to it one day, but Mississauga, I didn't really see any or a lot of opportunities here to get involved. And everyone always tells me, oh, you could have started something. I just didn't have the drive to do that, and that wasn't going to happen. And I'm very realistic with myself.
It's good.
And I didn't want to commute down to Toronto once a week or commute up to Guelph once a week to go to the making box. It wasn't high enough on my priority list. Because for me, when I was still commuting to work, it would be, half an hour there in the morning and then the full 8 hours and then an hour at least to just get back home because of GTA traffic. Like I travel 15, 20 kilometers maybe.
Yep.
And it takes me an hour to get home.
Yeah.
It's awful. So I never did that, but I find that, and I'm sure this will be a completely novel statement that no one else
Well, I need to strap myself in for this one.
Yeah, put on your seatbelt,
Right,
hold on to the little handholds on your computer here. But I find that D&D scratches a lot of those same itches. I know.
Scandalous.
Let me give you a minute. Really soak it in.
Okay.
Deep breath. Okay. Yeah, completely novel, I know. But yeah, like it's that essence of collaboration and building something with people. And I've been DMing a little bit as well for some of my high school friends, most of who are completely new to D&D. And seeing people learn and kind of grow and be able to give more of themselves into a campaign is something really satisfying for me to see. One of my buddies who is Giblet, the gnome bard who likes to eat things that he shouldn't, he's starting his own campaign now for some of his university friends. So it's really satisfying for me to see it paid forward.
Just the propagation.
Exactly. And I think this is going to sound kind of cliche again. I seem to be doing a lot of those today, but I think it's kind of people's duty if they've had a really good DM who got them into the game is to get other people in and keep growing that community. Todd is such an incredible DM. But he's really done such a fantastic job and helping us grow our characters and make this campaign our own and giving us such incredible buy-in that I wanted to give that to other people. And just, seeing and emulating that. I don't know how I got here. I know the question was, do you do improv? And now I'm here.
You're talking about scratching the itch.
But yeah, and that was part of improv for me though, right? Like I got into the exec team very early. I was an exec as of my 2B out of my 5 years because I was on co-op, right? And a lot of it was kind of being in that management position and seeing other people grow and being able to propagate that culture. So I think that kind of plays into how I just got to where I was. I just love it so much.
Quick tangent. You mentioned being on the exec team, and you've come back to judge some of the more recent Waterloo summits. How do you feel about the change in production quality since you've left Waterloo?
If this wasn't a family-friendly podcast, I would have some choice words right now. No, they've just done such a ridiculous job of upping the production quality and like creating full programs that run during the summits. Whereas like when I was running them originally, I was like, we have a theme. That's it.
Yeah. The theme gets touched on maybe once a night.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. It's welcome to Mission Improbable, where we do stuff. Let's go.
there was no like elaborate heist
No,
like thing that we were trying to get to. It was
nope.
like, here's a pun, enjoy.
Yep, it was a pun and it was a theme for the poster, and that's all.
Speaking of pun, I forgot to mention this month is Provtoberfest, the month long exploration of my friends from Make Pretends.
Friends, oh my god.
Finally remembered to say it again. I'm probably gonna forget it on my last episode of the month as well.
Sorry, what was it? One more time.
Once again, that is Provtoberfest, the month long exploration of my friends from Make Pretends.
Da, 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 da.
Waterloo edition.
Yes.
Just to add a little tag on the end. Um,
So who else do you have coming in for it? I know you said you had Devin.
yeah, so thus far it's been Nate and Devin, then you, and then Lexa. Her episode will be released on Halloween because she is the person who scares me the most.
That is super fair. I love her to death. She is one of the like most intense people I've ever met.
Pretty much.
Like delightful and horrifying if she wants to be. And I think she would be honored by that description.
Well, we'll find out if she ever gives us a listen and provides that sort of feedback. But I will not be reaching out to her for inquiry.
Yeah, if she ghosts me on all social media and never talks to me again, we know she heard that she didn't like it.
So I've pretty much done this with every other guest who's mentioned D&D thus far. What brought you into the tabletop RPG world?
Todd.
Gotta
Just
love
Todd.
Todd. Just Todd.
Like the group of us, it's one of the nerdiest things about me. If I had to self-declare it, is we had kind of created this real life live fantasy world based on ourselves and within improv.
Wow.
And then Todd decided that he wanted to make a campaign based off of our characters.
Aw.
So like Lexa is Lady Iron Fist, Nape is Warlord Vesuvius, Todd is our ambassador Giant Foot, which is one of the most straightforward ones.
Yep.
And I am Lord Super Chill. So Todd wanted to bring that to a more tangible realm. So we started there.
The UW Improv Extended Universe.
We have other people who have, knowing it or not, made guest appearances. I won't name anyone just in case Todd wants to keep that a secret.
Fair enough.
I will say that the name of the world we are in is Adonis. We are in the world of Adonis.
Love that man.
Bless him. Yeah, it was all Todd that got me into improv, and then I have into D&D, and I've got a few other campaigns I've done, a few other friends, but that's been kind of the main boat that keeps on sailing.
So as you sort of paid it forward to your high school friends, as you mentioned, was that like a COVID thing, just like as a thing to do, or?
No, we started about a year ago, I think. I had just decided that I knew that at least 2 or 3 of them would really enjoy it. So I opened it up to the group. And, we've got a couple people who don't show up anymore because it's just not a priority for them at this point in their lives. They've got other things that they're focusing on, and that's okay. It's just not a perfect fit for them now, but we've got the couple of them who have been showing up for every online session that we've done and would be there for every in-person session when we did them. So I got a couple people.
You hooked them.
I mean, it helps my buddy who's DMing now, the one that has Giblet, the gnome bard that licks things. I made a table so that whenever he licks or eats something that he shouldn't, he rolls a D100. And that decides what the effect is. So they range from nothing happening to we've had him glow purple for 4 hours. We have grow a tail. I have meet the gods. I have your race just gets changed like that. It's a wild ride. All of his roles have been the very mundane ones, and I'm just over here like, roll something better.
One of these days. One of these days.
I'm so excited. Like, I'm waiting for him to meet like one of the evilest of the evil, like betrayer gods, and just be able to play out that role play of this little gnome meeting Asmodeus, the prince of the nine hells.
Wow.
It would just be so delicious.
Gnome with an asterisk, because his race could change at any point between now and then.
Gnome with an asterisk, yes, that's very true.
You had also mentioned watching the sort of I don't know if there's like a categorical name for it, but like the D&D playthroughs, like such as Critical Role. Was that something that you used to sort of onboard yourself into the sort of game systems, or was that just like I'm already a fan of this, so I may as well start?
I honestly don't remember which came first. I started watching it when I was going to Niagara, and that was 2017. So I think it did come first, actually.
Hey.
Because my campaign was Todd, I think started 2018 or late 2017. So my sister got me on it. She used to watch it when she was living here before her and her fiance moved in. So I would watch it a little bit with her and have no idea what was going on, because it was like deep into stories and they already had all their characters and everything lined up. But yeah, started that and then shared that with Todd, and I guess that let him know that I was interested in that, and it all just kind of
him.
Snowballed from there. Exactly. Yeah, it gives a lot of satisfaction. And you spend so much time with these characters that you create like a deep emotional connection, or at least I do. I care so much about these people that I have never met and have no idea that I exist. But I care deeply. I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
I came with one prepared question just in case, because when I messaged you earlier,
and I said you didn't need to prepare anything.
Should I prepare anything? And you just sent me the Zoom link.
Yep. I don't know. Like whenever I go somewhere or like intend to talk to someone, I was just like, we'll let this meander and find out where it goes.
And I think that is the best way to do it.
That is my mentality towards this podcast, where independent of like it getting any sort of viewership, I'm just gonna have a conversation. We're gonna get better. It's a matter of getting better at having conversations. Still,
which is an art form in itself. It's hard.
Oh yeah. Still gonna fail in group scenarios, but if I can get someone isolated and alone and they have no other option,
then you got him.
Yeah, I'm gonna crush it.
No, it's getting off of the question I was gonna ask. Schmoozing is hard. Like, I was talking with one of the project managers on our team a little while ago, like telling her, I don't know how you do it. Just like talk with these people forever. And she was like, honestly, I just don't stop talking. So there's your tip of the day. Just don't stop.
Oh God. Okay. Duly noted.
But my question for you is, you've talked to 20 or so people, a little over 20, I think.
Yep. This is number 30.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're breaking down
Excellent.
barriers 10 at a time.
I love it. What is the most surprising thing you've learned about someone that you didn't know about them, or just something that kind of caught you off guard in one of these?
So after I stop the recording, I do tend to like continue the conversation just like off the record. It's much more relaxed, and I hope one of these days that energy will be present in the actual episode. But I was talking to someone about our mutual friend who, as I was going through the episode, I was just like, this guy's energy has it's so much different. Yeah, it's considerably different from like how I remember them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like a sort of more mellowed out tone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can't tell if that's just like uh, someone like me who I was always kind of mellow, but like when I first encountered like failure in university, I was like, this is like emotionally draining, and like I
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything. Um, or if that's just like a sort of mellowing out as a maturity thing, where it's just like, well, you're older, you just don't have the same kind of youthful exuberance
Mm-hmm.
that was present when you were 12 or 14.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it caught me off guard, and uh,
Yeah. Just seeing how people change when you
yeah,
don't talk to them
pretty
for a
much.
while and then they're a different person.
Mhm.
Stuff like that kind of makes me think, if I ran into people that I went to elementary school with, what would they think of who I am now compared to who I was then? Because I went to a different high school than everyone else in my elementary school went to.
Mhm.
So I haven't seen a 9 out of 10 of them since grade 8, which was a
Yeah,
long time ago. So time does a lot.
for sure. Um, the school I went to for K through 4, it wound up shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I was one of like maybe 5 people that went to a different elementary or the same sort of different elementary school for grades 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I was talking to some friends in university, I was like, oh, we were like hanging out as a group, and I noticed that like sort of friend of a friend um, had like the name of a guy that I was in kindergarten with. I'm just like, oh, I know that guy. I'm gonna say hi to him, and then just complete stranger look.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more of like that's less of a change thing and more of a, well, we knew each other when we were sick, like 6 years old for a year, and it's insane for you to assume that I would still know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would remember some people, but like definitely not the same person I am when I was 6.
Yep.
Can guarantee you that.
There are fewer boy bands that I'm into these days, but I'll still dip back into the classics. Probably the most significant change I think between uh, back then and now.
Less boy bands,
Yeah.
but more commitment to specific boy bands.
Yes. My fandom is immense.
Specific but immense.
Mhm.
That is the name of this episode if it wasn't going to be the name.
I have thought about like making separate episode titles independent of like episode number and guest name,
Mhm.
but that's that's a level of work I'm not going to hit in season 1 of this show. Season 2, maybe we change up the formula.
How long is each season?
52 episodes.
Ah, excellent. Very specific number.
Yep.
Did you start filming the first week of January, or you just want to make a full year
Nope.
rotation?
It started in March, but just season is year makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it is for the real world, right? One a year.
Yep.
Just have a little bit of a longer season.
It will it is going to be harder to look at the milestone episodes though, so I gotta make sure that I keep those in check
Mm-hmm.
once I get that 100th episode spectacular.
Mm-hmm. What do you even do for that? Do you have like multiple people who all don't know each other?
My current plans are actually for 50 and 100, and it's to bring on people that I talk to on a regular basis, but I know that other people don't get to.
Mm.
So I'm just gonna pull questions
Mm-hmm.
and use that as a conduit
Mm-hmm.
to get some information out about some people.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, but uh, maybe episode 100 could be the performance team, the UW performance team.
Yeah.
celebration dash.
Let's go and get zany. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
We are going to need like a 3-part season finale here. I hope you're ready, because I'm not. But I am booked. You are in my calendar.
Excellent. Feels such an honor to be part of the calendar.
Yeah, I showed you before. I do have one where I write things.
It's rigorous.
There's
not a lot of room left.
It's right here. Now, if I didn't write things down in my calendar, like I track all my future things in my phone. If I didn't write that down, I would be a mess. Like, ask me what I'm doing in 2 weeks. I don't know. Do I have a vacation day booked? Maybe, if I'm lucky. I have no memory space for that anymore.
I have no memory space for like things that are in the future. Memory space for things that have well been passed, fully intact. But like, I'll forget to unload the dishwasher on a given day because I thought I did it already.
Well, those kinds of mundane tasks, like it blurs. You'll think that you've done something because you've done it 3 times already this week, and then nope.
So Kelly, what would you say is one of the bigger changes that you noticed in yourself since we last spoke?
Oh, geez. Ooh.
Yeah, Fitch, that was going to be all lighthearted questions, and then I come in with an absolute sucker punch that I don't think I've asked on this show before, but had it jotted down at some point.
Just saving it for when you really needed it. I think I am learning how to put more value into my time, and trying against all improv rules to say no more, which is, odd in this time of COVID, but leaning into those things that give me energy and spark joy. And wow, Marie Kondo just came out. But leaning into those things that I take value in, and not feeling like I need to lean into things that don't, just because, maybe friends want to do it, or I get invited to something. Like, there were some people's birthday parties that I just was like, I don't really want to go, so I'm not gonna.
Makes sense.
Whereas before, like, I've always been very much a kind of go with it and try to go to everything I can and make everything, and be on the improv exec and be there every week and do the competitive team and go to all of the summits and hit all of these different things. But I think that's one of the biggest things I've taken away from job, is that there is value in my time, and you should, and the same for everyone, there's value in everyone's time, and you should only give that time to the things that you find value in.
Makes moments like this podcast all the more touching to me. I
was actually really excited to get invited, and the one thing with COVID that I think everyone realized is, I don't talk to people that I like enough.
Pretty much.
It's funny, running up to this today, I was thinking, like, I haven't talked to this person in a really long time, and this person in a really long time, and this person in a really long time. And I'm not the type to reach out. I sometimes kind of panic of like, what if this person never actually liked me and only was nice to me because we were friends with mutual people? And then what if all of those people also didn't like me, but they thought this other person liked me, so therefore no one likes me and they all just keep me around?
Oh, dear.
And I've gotten better at dealing with that as I've gotten a little older and more confident in myself. But I've always been really bad with making that first move to get in touch with people. So I think that's maybe a challenge I need to take on myself.
Yeah, making the first move as like a general sort of thing for myself it's never been easy. And sometimes it doesn't work out, and you just gotta feel that like small sting of like rejection or failure or whatever you want to call it. But
sometimes you
getting better at it.
Sometimes you get up to episode 30 in a podcast that you created.
Yeah.
With different
never thought I'd make it to here.
That's 30 yeses and 31 at least once you get left the next. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of yeses.
Um, so you said that, in leading up to this, you had thought about people that you hadn't spoken to in a while, which segues me into my final question that
Oh,
I'd like to ask everybody. If you were to host your own version of the show where you reconnect with your old friends,
mhm.
who is someone you'd like to have on? And I
Um,
do not need to know who they are in the slightest. Just to clarify, because that's been, yeah.
Good to know. There would definitely be a lot of improv people. Like I'd love to reconnect with Annabelle and with Ali. And were you around for the Brendan Baker era?
I was at the very tail end of it.
Okay. Like I'd love to be able to even just like grab a coffee someday with Baker and like catch up and see what his life has been.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's living out in BC or something now. Um, but there's also my elementary school best friend who, when we got older, just kind of drifted.
Mm-hmm.
But we were super close. Like we would have our little sleepovers and like watch Cheaper by the Dozen 3 times in a night because that's what people do apparently. It's a very vivid memory that I have. We stayed up all
It's a
night,
nice family movie.
but we watched it 3 times, Chris, in one night.
Fair.
Um, and yeah, it was just a really important person in that stage in my life. And I have no idea how she's doing.
Do you have a means of contacting her in any way at this time?
I absolutely do because Facebook exists. So
Gotcha.
you know what? I'm going to take a colorful marker. Which color marker should I take, Chris? I have
What
41.
are my options?
Oh, there are so many.
Oh, goodness gracious. Let's go with a classic green for going.
But which green? The light green or the dark green?
Light.
Light green. I'm writing this shit down on the piece of paper that I have here. Sorry, I just cursed. I've been really trying hard to avoid that.
uh, I did not stipulate this at any point. This is a curse-enabled show. You're free to do that as you wish.
I missed all
I
these opportunities. No.
I had the opportunity to mention this earlier and just didn't.
I mean, it's probably for the best that you didn't.
I get to check the box on the YouTube video version of this upload where it's like, no, this is not made for kids, and I get to check the explicit box on the Anchor FM website.
Makes you feel a little hardcore.
Oh yeah, I feel so cool. I feel so adult.
You're basically producing like a rap album by clicking that. Like you are the new, I don't know, who are rappers? I don't know.
We discussed this.
I know the new Slim Shady, obviously. You're the new Slim Shady.
Chance is a rapper. Soldier Boy is a Twitch streamer, but he used to be a rapper.
Is he really a Twitch streamer
Oh
now?
yeah, he is a big Twitch streamer, as is T-Pain.
What?
It's very entertaining. The world of Twitch.tv is a fascinating place, and you'll never you'll never find a more unexpected avenue in which people continue their stardom.
Like what do they do?
So Soldier Boy just does a lot of video games. He was very big on old school RuneScape for a while.
Oh yes.
Got some banger instrumentals from playing old school RuneScape. T-Pain does a lot of video games as well. Mostly, I think it's like Call of Duty. But he'll also do sort of musical type streams, which is very nice. There was a video of his sort of like broadcast introduction posted to Reddit a while ago, and like my friend saw it, and I don't think he was watching much Twitch TV before that, but like it was very like it got him hyped up. And that's all I'll say.
So that's amazing. T-Pain's actually a really good vocalist.
Singer. Yeah.
Which with all the auto-tune you would never know. But he did a Tiny Desk concert for NPR. Yeah. Yes. It's very so familiar. Good.
And then he also did like a medley of his with like Kurt Hugo Schneider on instrumentation. And he also won that like first season of The Masked Singer, which was cool.
That show bamboozles me to this point. Like I understand the concept, but I've never watched a full episode. So it just blows my mind. something else, since we're on the topic of music, that blew my mind.
Sure.
You know Sting, like the guitarist
Yep.
Sting that our parents love?
And his album with Shaggy.
Yes! It's so good! Like, it is on my regular rotation.
Wow.
Love it so much.
An unexpected thing on my regular rotation is David Duchovny from X-Files. He
Yes.
has a music like maybe one or two music albums.
Can you send it to me, please?
Absolutely. Also, Jason Schwartzman. He was the drummer for Phantom Planet. So like when they had that as the theme song for the OC, he was the drummer on that. And then he has his own sort of solo career under the name Coconut Records.
I like it.
Yeah. A lot of very talented people out there.
Doing some weird stuff. Which is kind of my favorite.
Yeah. Did you listen to the new Sufjan Stevens album?
I did part of it, and like I've been listening to Sufjan for almost a decade now. So I know in comparison to, how long he's been out, that's really not a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't lock into it. I don't know if I was just in a weird headspace that day, but I kind of, it ran in the background for a while, and then I was kind of like, not in the right place for this.
We'll put a sticky on this, revisit it later.
We'll pull out an orange marker for that, because that was the easiest one to grab. What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed, not based on the title, the single video game, and the rest of the album is not that. But like I really wanted more of that type of sound.
Like sorry, finish your thought first.
Yeah. I gave it an initial listen through. Came out of it feeling like, yep, good to know that Sufjan Stevens still making music, and but like haven't a strong opinion one way or the other right now.
Yeah, he's just kind of gone in a different direction from where he was before. Like when he was looking at the 50 States project and like the Michigan album is so different, for example, from Odds and everything that's kind of followed. And I think maybe why the new one didn't resonate with me is because I love, or not the Illinois, that album so much that it's just so different that it's hard to make that jump.
True.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to say.
That's valid.
That's what we're going with.
So you had mentioned earlier that you got some things on replay, or I guess rerun, such as Critical Role. What other things have you been having in the background?
What did I do? I went deep into my childhood and did a full rewatch of Cardcaptor Sakura.
Nice.
Which is as wholesome as it always was. It does get very repetitious because it's, I'm a child, capture card, I'm a child.
Yep.
But it was a nice background show. I watch a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race as filler because it's just a ridiculous, high energy filler.
Yep.
People always freak out at me when I tell them this. I've never watched Stranger Things.
Me neither.
I never watched all of Breaking Bad. I never watched all of The Walking Dead. And this is where Chris cuts the stream. But I gravitate towards programming that leaves you feeling good and not on those like painful or emotional cliffhangers. Did I watch Game of Thrones? Yes, of course I did, because everyone and their mother did. Not Chris, apparently. But yeah, I watched it because it was bandwagon, and I say that, but I didn't watch Breaking Bad, so that logic doesn't.
Or Stranger Things.
But yeah, just lately I gravitate towards those more positive things.
Gotcha.
Like I did a rewatch of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I actually rewatch every year.
Hey,
If anyone has never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, you're missing out.
it's a fun show about war.
So good. It's so well done, but also hits so many incredibly important topics.
Hmm.
Um,
I saw, I think it was like a wisecrack video essay on just like how the the topic of war and like
mhm,
the real cost of war is portrayed in ATLA.
mhm. Yeah, like they hit everything from like war and the impacts on families to like propaganda, and Legend of Korra hits like deforestation and the impact of man on nature and like spiritual connections and how you lose that with the continuation of technology. And like they cover a lot for a show that's rated PG. Korra maybe PG-13 at best. But Korra isn't on Canadian Netflix, so I haven't been able to rewatch that yet. And I'm very upset about it, Netflix. If you're listening right now,
Write them a curtly worded letter.
they're listening to everything I say right now. They know how I feel.
uh, Facebook will forward them the information.
Exactly.
That I think that's how tech works.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Facebook just listens to all of us, and if there's ever any other company that gets mentioned, they just
Yep.
shoot it off with a carrier pigeon and send them the
deeds.
full script of what happened. And
It doesn't have to be said. If you just think of it, it's going to appear.
Oh God, they're in my brain now too. Oh no. I thought I'd have at least another 2 years.
So I've yet to find a way to gracefully dismount from the show. But Kelly, do you have any final questions for me?
Um, 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 I'm panicking, but I can find something. Okay.
Anakin Skywalker over here.
What is the thing, other than this podcast, if this is the answer, but I want something else.
Okay.
What is the thing that has brought you the most enjoyment or happiness or joy this year?
Watching my friends who have fallen out of playing like PC-based video games get back into the world of online gaming in a way that I can connect with them. People were very much looking for things to do over COVID, and being able to like hop in a Discord and just like shoot the shit while literally shooting some shit
Yeah.
has been incredibly heartwarming. Yeah, that's number one with a bullet.
That's nice. It's nice to reconnect with people. Like I've never been much of a gamer, but I reconnected with some people from university at the beginning when everyone was doing Zoom chats with their friends after we just got locked down. So just those little opportunities to be reconnected, I think have been a blessing.
Especially at the so like at the start of like a little bit before quarantine hit, I was sternly talked to by some people who had gone out to lunch with a mutual friend, and you know, my name came up, and the mutual friend's reaction was like, "Oh, does that guy still play video games?" And the people that, you know, sat me down and talked to me were just like, "Chris, you can't be like that. That can't be your personality. Like you can't go on living the way you do, where like that's what you're known for." And like knowing that they've been proven wrong pretty handily is like, man, very vindicating.
Yeah. And like it's all kind of how people meet you too, I think. Like I never would have seen you that way because that's not how I met you and how we have conversed. But good on you for being able to break out of that box that person had put you in.
Yeah, I did cry when they said like you're not gonna make friends if you keep doing this. But you know what? I'm a stronger man coming out of it.
There you go. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Feels strong, man. Kelly, I do like to wrap up. I give my guest a moment to plug anything that they or that they are doing or that they believe deserves more people's attention. So
Um,
you have a moment to just say whatever.
um, just a reminder as I guess we're getting closer to the holidays to try to support small businesses and people that you know as much as you can instead of the Amazons and that kind of thing. Like, yes, of course they have staff that depend on them, but your money goes so much farther and helps so many more people if you're able to keep it local, or even go through friends of friends and go for small businesses, and just remember to be nice to each other because everyone's having a hard time lately. No one's perfectly okay. um, so just be nice to each other. Plugging friendship.
Hell yeah. And my plug for this week, listen to Open Mike Eagle's Anime Trauma and Divorce album released yesterday. I say yesterday, but I now realize that this episode's coming out next week. So a week ago from yesterday. But anyways,
Made the save.
yeah. Thank you so much for listening, dear whoever you are is listening to this. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, Chris.